What's up everybody, Griffey here. Nothing hits my heart quite like a gnarly transformation. A white-knuckled, sweaty, body-melting, night after too many PBRs and a Taco Bell vendor display that reminds us these flesh shoots aren't only at risk from psychos with knives and Crunchwrap Supremes. Here is my list of the most gnarly horror movie transformations in cinematic history.
Insects don't have politics. They're very brutal.
You could probably drop most David Cronenberg movies on this list. Videodrome's Hungry Tummy, The Brood's Angry Mommy, Scanner's Cranium Explosions, but none hit quite like The Fly. The Fly is the story of scientist Seth Brundle and his invention of the telepods. These pods will allow for teleportation and could revolutionize our world. Seth decides to be the first traveler after a few drinks with his baboon, and a fly enters the pod. The insect and human DNA are recombined to monstrous results. At the start, this works. He's just having awesome sweaty sex, and now he can do cool gymnastics moves. Sign me up! Then eventually he starts cracking arms, his teeth are falling out, his ears are falling out, his face is deforming, he's talking like this. Even more Jeff Goldblum-y than normal Jeff Goldblum, it's disturbing to watch. His body begins to become bulbous and full of gross thick hair, which is relatable. As his human body becomes less recognizable, we see Seth's mind also becoming darker and more primal. By the end of the film, Seth is vomiting on a hand to melt it, and a full insect face bursts through what's left of his human facade. That finale with the human-fly metal hybrid thing begging for release reminds us that the best transformations must reach more than skin deep and hit the heart.
What Taco Bell item do you think is a film fly?
Taco fry burrito. Two things that should definitely not be combined, but the results are good with me.
Help me! Please! Help me!
It would be hard to find anyone who doesn't think the werewolf transformation in An American Werewolf in London isn't among the greatest of all time. What starts with our main character and werewolf chew toy David sweating and screaming for help in obvious agony takes a darker turn. We see his fingers lengthen, rampant body hair growth, and random bulging that you can feel the pain of in your own body. I didn't mean to call you Meatloaf, Jack! It is such a beautiful display of prosthetic and practical effects, right? The way we see David's real head moving amongst the elongated torso and weird shaped limbs, what it does is it sinks us into what our own bodies would feel like as this inner monster rips and deforms us into a killing machine. For my money, this has still not been topped in overall achievement in werewolf transformation. And now we're just getting lazier and lazier by the year. We're either doing CG werewolves, or like the Wolfman, we're just doing no werewolf at all. We're just having guys run around like naked Gene Cadies, and no one on earth wants that. Yeah, this one has to be a double-decker taco, right? Simple idea, iconic, done to perfection, and then evil people rip it from our hearts, turning us into wild animals every time the full moon is out, and we can't order a goddamn double-decker taco, turning us into wild frenzy beast.
Oh, we gotta get you to the hospital.
No. I already saw Dr. Carl. Gave me a prescription.
Another bug-based transformation. Slither's insect parasites come from the far reaches of space. This James Gunn flick is the story of a meteorite landing in a small rural town. When the local rich guy takes his side piece into the woods, he is stung in the chest by the creature from the meteorite. Once inside his body, this alien parasite begins its warpath on all the humans and pets in the vicinity. Anytime the camera hangs on Michael Rooker, you are getting your money's worth in this movie. Watching his character Grant be overtaken is pretty chilling. This movie delivers all of the gross out fun that a premise involving slugs should have. We even see a slug in a bathtub, which is now a new fear that I just have forever. The most memorable scene in the movie is when we find Brenda in the barn. She is engorged, becoming a giant flesh ball surrounded by rotting meat. Her little head pleads as she rips apart, revealing a flood of alien parasites. If one of these slugs enters your mouth, you too get to experience horrifying body transformations. This movie's disgusting, it's hilarious, I could not get enough of it.
What Taco Bell item would Slither be?
This has to be a grilled stuffed burrito. Gut bomb of all things Taco Bell. Just imagine that you're Brenda, but what falls out of you is low rent meats.
I like this game.
This is a good game. I don't know how you got to this point, but I like it. This James Wan whodunit is definitely the most unique body transformation on this list. The film follows the tortured Madison, who after being abused by her husband begins seeing visions of a killer dressed in black committing murders, beginning with her awful husband. Police in Madison search for answers to this villain's identity, only to realize it's been right under their noses the whole time, or to be more accurate, in the back of Madison's head. Turns out as a child, Madison had a parasitic twin brother, Gabriel, who was literally growing out of her back. They couldn't cut him all the way out for fear of killing Madison, so they essentially stuff him into her head and seal him up with skull plates. When Madison's husband injured her head, Gabriel was freed. Yeah, it's as wild as it sounds. The scene where Madison goes full crisscross and backward fights an entire cell of women prisoners is a bloody symphony of violence. Oh, talk about an old reference, dude. Crisscross will make you jump, jump. If y'all don't know crisscross, that's on you. I never understand how just because your psychic brother takes over your body, he can backwards man better than Bruce Lee, but I don't care. It's so cool you just let thoughts drift away and let the mayhem wash over you. Does this movie cheat? Yes, constantly. They do things to try to keep us from figuring out who the killer is the whole movie. Because when we find out who the killer is, we go, what the hell was that? But we immediately don't care. This hit during COVID and we were just kind of in the headspace for all of this craziness. We just wanted something to change the mundanity of COVID, and this movie did that in spades.
Taco Bell item?
I'm gonna go cheesy gordita crunch. I don't believe Mexico even has these. This is something they just made up and we all said, cool, we'll go with it.
I don't believe in you.
I believe in you.
Freddy has always had a love affair with body horror. He gets it, he himself being a hideously burned dream demon. Nightmare 4 has some of the most creative and fun kill moments in the franchise to me, right? I think the cockroach kill stands high above though. Debbie was simply trying to do way too close grip bench presses when Freddy arrives and breaks her arms. That's gross enough for most movies, but this needs to be a full-on nightmare. From said broken arms, giant bug legs emerge as Debbie runs screaming. We humans really fear becoming bugs. Thanks, Kafka. Dude, my references are sick, dude. Crisscross and Kafka. Partial bug Debbie flees from Freddy only to find herself stuck and writhing in a gross yellow adhesive. Her hot girl skin rips apart, revealing that she is now a full cockroach. You can check in, but you can't check out. This is actually how a dream of a phobia of bugs would play out, right? We become what we fear most, and then Freddy talks to us and squishes us into nothing. If I was pitching this franchise to someone who had never watched it, this is the scene I would show them to let them know why they need to join us.
And this is comparable to which Taco Bell item?
I would go with nacho fries. It's a weird thing where it shouldn't be. The fries are usually squishier than they want, and they have that kind of consistency of, there might be bugs in this, but it's 2 a.m. and I'm just gonna roll the dice.
Walruses never cry!
This is easily the most bizarre transformation on this list. I'm talking, of course, about Tusk, in which we see an obnoxious podcaster played by Justin Long fall into the trap of serial killer Howard Howe, played by the great Michael Parks. Howard seems like a nice old sailor who simply spins yarns about his friend Mr. Tusk, a walrus who saved his life from a shipwreck. Adorable. Until you realize he's drugged Wallace and plans on reliving those glory days in the most messed up way imaginable. Tusk actually began when writer-director Kevin Smith read an ad about a man offering free lodging for anyone willing to dress up like a walrus. The article was not real, but the enthusiasm it generated in Smith was. I remember listening to this episode and thinking, damn, I would love to see that flick. And to think that it went from that goofball conversation to becoming this real movie, this real dark, horrifying horror movie, right? Minus any time Johnny Depp's on screen where the whole movie falls apart. We see all these beautiful old Frankenstein-style drawings of how you would turn a man into a walrus that I doubt have any kind of scientific accuracy. What it really looks like, they took a skinny podcaster and just wrapped him in layers of fat, very much like my own existence in life. I have a lot to think about. Am I really watching a man be surgically changed into a walrus? Am I really watching an old man trying to bond with this screeching abomination he's created? Is he really putting on his own walrus suit and challenging Wallace to walrus rules combat to see who truly has the blubbery animal spirit? Yes, I was, and in public no less, and I loved it. When Wallace is revealed to be lost to his walrus life, I cheered because I was too. Now I live in a world where a man can be forced to become a walrus. It's a more magical world, albeit frightening. But it's also still magical. There's no value in destroying a movie like this because it doesn't make sense, because Johnny Depp is a cartoon in it. You just have to love that this made it to the big screen.
And this one would be...
Oh, this has got to be a quesarito. No one orders this. It's a combination of things that just shouldn't be combined. It's The Leftovers, but somehow when you get it, you're always happy you had it. I've talked about The Substance so many times now on this channel, I feel like I should be getting a sponsorship. I want to be a younger, hotter version of myself. Come on, make with the goods. No matter, I love this movie so much, I'll just keep spreading the good word in this broken down meat sack you see before you.
You look great.
Oh, thanks, man. The Substance is a tale about an aging actress who tries to take a miracle drug to unleash, literally, a younger, sexier version of herself. There are rules that of course aren't followed, which leads us to the hottest Faustian bargain ever to grace the silver screen. Man, and Faust? Dude, I'm like book learned, dude. Woo. As we watch Demi Moore, who damn well better win the Oscar this year, begin to crumble as Sue grows, her performance reinforces the theme that her only value comes from the hungry eyes of others. Again, great body horror must also twist your heart. What separates The Substance and makes it so much more impactful is that we have to take care of and maintain the old body from which our new hotter self was born. It's that connection between the ideal self and the old self that requires these characters to dive much more deep than we normally do in body transformation movies. I will never forget the first time we see the Popeye hunchbacked Elizabeth emerge after Sue has stolen 3 months of her time. Good Lord. Seeing this poor woman completely deformed, all because she wanted to be young, feels like a horrifying price to pay for something we all feel. In her desperation, she takes more of the substance, birthing Monstro Elizasu, which leads to one of the most bonkers endings you will ever find. This is the scary thing about the movie. If Demi Moore can even look in the mirror and not find value, I'm going home and taking a hammer to every reflective surface in my house today. What is the point? You don't need the substance, lady. Believe in yourself.
Taco Bell then?
This has to be the 89-cent crunchy tacos from my younger years. It's a younger, better version of the $1.89 Demi Moore version we have now. I will eat both. I will happily eat both. But one should not cost $1 more. Come on.
Oh, look, a beauty mark.
Mo money, mo problems, and mo shunting. That's the theory behind the cult classic Society. The movie follows Billy Warlock as he rages against the upper crust world his family inhabits. These aren't just typical despicable rich people though, as Billy soon discovers. No, they are actually a different race altogether. Leech-like creatures with malleable skin who are disturbingly close-knit. You're a different race than us. You're a different species, a different class. The movie was a bomb, but the absolute insanity of the end of this film has led it to become a gross-out classic fans have come to cherish. We are talking about slimy body horror across a whole room of rich people, literally combining in a euphoric nightmare wrestling session. You will never be able to scrub the mother-daughter combo, handhead, or dad is a literal butthead from your mind. But it is the shunting scene that has become legend. The writhing mass of dolly-like flesh created by FX master Screaming Mad George is hard to fathom. People too often call movies unforgettable, but Society will absolutely suck onto your brain and never, ever leave. This is the Bell Burger. Just why? Why do you do this to me? It's gross. I hate it. Fine, I'll take it, but I'm not happy about it.
The reason I came up here is because there's a problem with the Mogwai.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, it multiplies with water.
We've covered a lot of human bodies being transformed on this list, but what about a magical creature becoming a monster? That's what Gremlins offers us. The Gremlins, or Mogwai, are a magical species with 3 important rules. Don't get them wet, don't feed them after midnight, don't expose them to sunlight. Seems easy enough, right? Apparently not from what we witness in the film. The film's main adorable creature is named Gizmo. He's the perfect pet until perennial dipstick Corey Feldman spills water on him. Gizmo's back bubbles and begins shooting out more little hairballs. Then supposedly grown-ass man and loser Bill feeds his new badge chicken after midnight due to his clock being broken. After that, the Mogwai become gremlins. I know some people will disagree with this selection due to it not being a human body, but I love this series of events. Watching Gizmo scream and cry, his little feet kicking, he's laying on his stomach like a baby, and his little stubby legs are kicking as these balls are shooting out of his back. We are literally watching these things take pieces of him to create new monstrous versions that are going to bring bad reputation to the Mogwai name. The creature effects in this film are still among the greatest I've ever seen, and I had to show this movie some love. I mean, even the end when we see the gremlins melt in the sun, I mean, come on! Someday you will be ready. When you are, Mogwai and gremlins will be waiting. I can't even stop myself from feeding after midnight, so how can I handle a Mogwai? This video was not sponsored by Taco Bell. I think this has to be a cinnamon twist. It makes no sense while it's on the menu. You bite into it, it's not exactly what you want, and then you get one that's a little too real and your tooth breaks, and you're like, ow! How did such mischief come from something that looks so sweet and innocent? That's the Gremlins. The Thing is a story of a remote outpost that welcomes an extraterrestrial menace into their camp in the guise of a dog. We soon discover that this alien can take on any form, and a paranoia horror classic emerges. This surpasses a horror movie. This is just straight up one of the best movies ever made. The sheer creativity, the depravity, the horror of this movie works for any audience. The effects in this film are so widespread, it's difficult to summarize them quickly. Mutant dog, leaping petri dish blood, the alien's final form. The movie is literally bursting with the nightmares of FX master Rob Bottin. The scene that really flexes all of this creativity is when a man's chest opens into a giant mouth as a doctor is trying to revive him. The tummy bites his arms off, a long tentacle-necked spider creature with the man's head shoots to the ceiling as his real head falls off his body, grows crab legs in an attempt to escape. That's just movie magic. The body horror is omnipresent, but what makes the thing superior to its peers is the thick layer of paranoia. Who can we trust? Can we even trust that we ourselves haven't been taken over and are being puppeted by this creature? We watch these men be washed in absolute dread. They are not alone up here, they are not alone in the universe, and all they want to be is alone away from each other. They've remade this movie now with CG effects, and it sucks a bag of balls. It's so bad. You cannot match the magical mastery that this movie had. The practical effects, the twisting of a literal form, not a computer-generated one, is part of the appeal of the film. It doesn't have to look perfectly realistic because this is an alien flesh. We don't have to know exactly what it is. It's body horror that strikes deep at the very meaning of what simply being truly is. We are left to ponder this even as the credits hit. We never know who is who and must endlessly speculate, but that is the joy of this film. The unknowing means that there could be an amazing practical effect monster lurking in the heart of any of us.
And this one is?
This is the Crunchwrap Supreme. It is the best, it is iconic, it is undefeated, it is an absolute medley of all of the best things that make Taco Bell. It could not be better, A+. That's it, my list of the most gnarly horror movie transformations. What did I miss? Does Mrs. Doubtfire count? I feel like it should count. Hello! Now we're just getting loopy.